We did just that, and it was a pleasure to be on hand for what was the second annual Ottawa International Film Festival this past weekend, and what a show it was. Coordinator Nina Baines has been trying valiantly to put Ottawa on the map with an international film festival. She's even been quoted as saying that 10 years from now will be bigger than Sundance. While I applaud her effort and I applaud her enthusiasm, we're still a million miles away from Sundance. The OIF was a nice, cozy indie film festival, but our focus was off. Rather than focusing on the international aspect of the indie film festival, we were too closely focused on the Ottawa aspect of the festival. Don't get me wrong, I love Ottawa film. I love independent film, but if we want to be taken seriously, there needs to be a level of professionalism that seemed to lack at the festival. It was all the little things, but they added up. For example, on a trivia page that showed before each screening, there was talk about Ottawa's biggest shot film to date, House at the End of the Street, starring Elizabeth Shue. However, they spelt Elizabeth Shue's name wrong, and they never fixed it over the entire weekend run. At another screening, someone got up to speak and thanked the audience for coming before the credits had even stopped rolling. Biggest no-no in the movie game book. By interrupting the credits, you are disrespecting the creators of the film, who spent a very long and hard time preparing the film for that moment. Plus, we were commonly referred to as gay or nay throughout the entire weekend by Priya Rayo of the First Weekend Club, who marketed themselves as Canada's ticket to great film, which showed a core lack of respect from festival organizers towards their guests. So, while I was less than impressed in the way the festival ran, I do have good news. At least the choices for films were good. The opening night film was Adrian Langley's A Violent State, a crime drama / tragedy set here in Ottawa. The story follows a young man on parole who gets caught up in gang-related violence as a ghost from his past shows up in town. The movie is shot in Ottawa and supposed to take place in Ottawa, although Ottawa is not mentioned once and the location comes off as more of generica than any place else. It certainly wasn't a fast-paced action movie I expected, but Langley puts a lot of love into his project, and he was pretty much a one-man show, writing, directing, producing, starring in, and doing a million other things. Of all the characters in A Violent State, it's pretty obvious that Langley loves some more than others, putting extra care into them, while some of the rest, particularly those on the law enforcement side, suffered in mediocrity. It was those loved characters and the actors playing them, Rams Fax, Jessica Edwards, and Langley himself, that made the movie shine. It was a very solid cast, and while it may have been slow and a bit boring for a crime drama, it was a solid Greek tragedy, and one that garnishes an opening night yay. We got the chance to talk to Langley and a few of the cast members, so here's that. Friday night, number 2 at the fest had 2 screenings, the Ottawa premiere of Highway Gospel and the world premiere of Kennyville. Highway Gospel is a hysterical documentary about a group of downhill slalom skateboarders. It took directors Jarrett Beliveau and Craig Jackson over 4 years to make this passion project, and it plays out well on screen as interesting and informative. The small and intimate audience that came out to the screening must have left amazed at how stupid and rednecky some of Canada's greatest skateboarders are, but at the same time amazed at how well a documentary about drunk driving, drug-induced 30 to 40-year-old rednecks on thin boards and wheels played off. There were even cheers from my cameraman Rico as the credits started to roll. And I have to agree, this movie, going around to a few more festivals, is a huge yay. Here's Craig Jackson with a little more about the movie. Kennyville played right afterwards, and it was a completely different style of movie. It's an Eli Roth or Chainsaw Massacre styled horror movie that sees two private eyes make their way to Kennyville to research the possibility of a human trafficking ring and find something more shocking than they ever expected. I thought the trailer looked horrible, but I was pleasantly surprised. What could have easily been a very boring, typical slasher torture porn feature was instead a very smart action-based thriller, leaving the audience with a lot of questions for a potential follow-up movie. Kennyville hit the mark where a lot of indie horror movies fail. Remember the hate I had on for Insidious, saying it was like a film student's first year project? Well, that's what I expected from Kennyville, and instead, I felt like I was watching a movie that, if given a bigger budget, could stand on its own 2 feet in the international market. Find it on DVD in October 2011 because this is another yay from us. We talked to Brooks Hunter after the premiere, and here's a little bit of that. The last feature we attended was William Shatner's look-alike Paul Dervis's The Righteous Tithe. A British citizen married to a Canadian citizen are trying to take a vacation in Virginia, but are stopped at the border and interrogated by the FBI about their motives and their past. The story is one that fills the audience with anger at the audacity of the American Border Patrol, who will easily and willingly destroy a family's life in the name of national security. The Righteous Tithe was by far the best film I saw at the festival. The story was intense, and I constantly wanted to know what was happening next. The story filled me with a righteous anger. It connected with me on a level that most movies don't, and I found myself wanting to do something, but I was as helpless as the characters in the movie. Dervis really hit the mark with this simple story, and without a doubt, if we had a best of fest for the festival, this would be my vote. Yay. We also took in a handful of shorts at the festival that ranged from yay to nay. One short that really stood out was called The Legend of Beaver Dam, about a group of scouts and their leader who go camping in the woods and run into a monster named Stumpy Sam. The short is a comedy horror musical, and let me tell you this, it was by far the best cinematic work that I've seen in a long time. It stars Sean Cullen of Corky and the Juice Pigs fame, who also infamously was a contender on season 6 of Last Comic Standing. This short played right before Highway Gospel and was perfect. It put everyone in the mood for a good movie to follow. And all I can say is, wow, I need to find a copy of this 12-minute short. On the whole, Ottawa was well represented in the festival. Many of the shorts were shot and produced here in Ottawa, and Digi60 showed their shorts from the past year. 3 of the features we saw were shot by Ottawa natives with an Ottawa and surrounding area cast. As an Ottawa movie festival, it was great to see such local talent come together. But in the bigger picture, as an international festival, I was slightly disappointed in the turnout. While shows like A Violent State and The Righteous Tithe were sold out, Highway Gospel and Kennyville had an audience under 100. We need more heart and soul and encouragement for those young and old filmmakers who want to do what they love and make movies. I'm very encouraged and excited to see how much this festival will grow by the time it rolls around next year. Tell us what you think. Leave us a comment below or come and talk to us on our website, shouldyouseit.com. Then, join us over on Facebook where we post exclusive outtakes from the reviews.